Travel is more than the seeing of sights. It is a change that goes on, deep and permanent in the ideas of living. The Oxford Dictionary states travel as to go on from one place to another, especially over a long distance. The action of travelling, including journeys, especially abroad. But isn't travelling also an adventure, to get away from our boring routine lives? It is different from a holiday, an expected period of leisure and recreation. To travel anywhere makes us all travellers, and to travel for pleasure makes us all tourists. So why do people travel? What is it about exploring the world that excites us so much? The childhood memories? The stunning beaches? The warm waters? The adventurous flying? Or the local spirits? Watching the sunsets? Being with friends? Eating ice cream? Or trying something different? We all love to get away. So we save up every day, week, month, year to get to that dream destination, dream getaway, dream adventure that we'd never forget. Most travelling is seen to be for entertainment, for holidays, for relaxation, family time, just to get away. But large time travelling is also for business reasons, or for a camping holiday. In 2012, 56.5 million UK residents travelled abroad throughout the year for reasons such as holidaying, business trips, educational uses, including independent and non-independent travellers. This was an increase from the number of travellers in 2011, which makes you wonder what has happened to the idea of holidaying and going to different countries abroad that has changed so dramatically in just 1 year's time. Visits to countries such as Spain, France and Egypt have all decreased in the number of visitors over the year, while there has been increased visits to places such as Morocco, Tanzania and other North African countries. With a shift from the destination of choice, does that mean there has become a new meaning to the word holiday? That people are not just holidaying in general sunny areas that they can get peace and relaxation? That people are having a rise in cultural awareness and want to go out and explore the more unseen countries of the world? It has definitely become a rise in the younger generation to go out and explore the world. So what type of holiday do you usually go on?
Normally when we go on holiday, it's like a family holiday. Like, I don't normally get much input in the decision. I'd much rather go on like cultured holidays myself, like, because that's more of the thing I'm interested in. But when I was younger, we'd sort of go like more like to Blackpool, like British holidays. It wasn't until I was slightly more older, about 11 or 12, that we started going abroad.
Would it be every year that you went away with your family, or twice a year even?
Normally about once a year. Never really more than once a year. Maybe sometimes no year, but normally about once a year, like if we had money. I think that was mainly why we stuck to places in Britain, because like flying abroad and stuff was a little bit expensive for us, I think.
And what was your main achievement or purpose for going on the holiday? Was it purely just to have family time together?
Yeah, normally it was more for family time, but like I said, as we like as I got older and we got to some places, I started to see them as more, like for example, when we went to Austria and Spain, and France as well. We're in France, like I started to see it as more like this is like a different country. Like I really want to explore here. I want to see the culture. Like it's a different country from us. It's not what I'm used to. So I think I would get more excited by the prospect of not so much chilling out and having a good time, but just being in a different country. Like really excites me, and that's what I want to do when I'm an adult. Is I want to live in a different country. I don't want to stay in Britain for the rest of my life. So to get a chance to go to more and more different countries is really exciting for me.
Do you think that sort of explorer nature of yours came from anywhere particular, or just sort of being in a different place made you realise there's more to see than Britain?
No, I think it's very much my thing. Well, my mum's a home bird. She likes to stay at home, and my dad's never... I mean, he's been to a lot of places, like to do with his work, but he never expresses great kind of sort of, I was in this country. It was just like, I was here for this purpose. I know it's very much my thing that I would like to go to different countries.
Would you ever consider doing a travel or adventure holiday rather than just
Yes.
a touristy one?
Yeah, I once sat next to a man on the train once who told me about how his daughter went to Eurocamp, and he would tell me like all about it and looked it up, and I think it was like a little bit expensive to go, but it did make me think about those sort of things. Like I think you can get them a lot in like America and stuff like that. So it is something that I would consider for the future. Preferably out with Europe, because it's like the idea that I'm in Europe now. Yes, there are different countries in Europe, but to be somewhere that's out with Europe, for example, like America, Asia, Australia, it's like, whoa, this is totally different.
And have you actually been out with Europe already?
I have been out with Europe. Just recently I came back. It was my first holiday out with Europe. Me and a friend went to Thailand. It was my first sort of non-family holiday, as it were, because it was just me and her. Not only was it tremendously exciting in that it was a completely different country, it was out with Europe, the culture was totally different, their food was different, the streets were different, the religion, their beliefs, everything was just totally different. So it was really exciting, and it gave me that sense of independence being there. And we now have plans like to travel other places, like maybe make it a yearly thing if we can save up the money.
And obviously, because the culture is so different, did you find it easy to fit in with the cultures, or was there certain rules that you can abide by?
I think I found it easy in the sense that I made an attempt to fit in. I very much understood that it was their country, so I had to do things their way. Like, I tried, even though I only stayed there for a week, I made an effort to try and learn bits of the language.
How do you feel about the whole sort of travel experience? Does it make you nervous or excited?
I have no issues with flying. I actually really enjoy flying. I just get really excited by it. I think with travelling, the only thing that bothers me is the stress of it, especially with Thailand. It was a 12-hour flight on each end, so that was tiring, exhausting. It was altogether, it was like a day and a half worth of travelling, because we had to get the train down there, fly out, get there, switch flights, connecting flights in China and stuff, and you do get quite irritable, but it's worth it in the end when you get there.
And where would be your dream destination?
Following up from earlier, like I said, probably somewhere out with Europe. Well, it changes. When I was a little bit younger, maybe a couple of years ago, I really wanted to live in Australia. Now I really want to live in America, although in recent months I really now want to live in Asia.
Why do you think people like to travel or go on holiday each year?
I think it's the idea of getting away from your normal day-to-day life, because it can get so repetitive, and it's just like an ongoing cycle of the same thing every day, your jobs, your education, your life in general. So getting away to somewhere different is such a change, and it's new and it's exciting, it's different, it's not what you're used to, so you can just sort of enjoy, relax.
And do you think it's important as a sort of life lesson to go out and explore the world?
I think definitely, yeah. I mean, the world is such a huge place, and living in one country is like only scratching the surface of what the planet is like, as like the world. So I actually think it's very important to go out and see the world, and not just read about it or learn, watch documentaries on it. I think it's important to go out there and actually experience it for yourself, because I mean, certainly the holidays that I've been on, when it's out with the country, it's really exciting, and it's something that you treasure, for the rest of your life.
So what type of holiday do you usually go on?
Well, I'm actually quite fortunate in the fact that I normally have a holiday with my family, with my wife, and I also have what we call a boys' holiday to a sporting event.
What sporting event is this?
Normally taking a Formula 1 race.
And is this European or worldwide?
We've basically done most of the circuits in Europe, and so now we're starting to stretch a bit further. We've been to Malaysia in the Far East and Canada in North America.
And do you prefer the European circuits or?
Money-wise, European circuits are far cheaper and the travelling time is less. Malaysia, for example, was 10 hours, which is quite a long time to be stuck on a plane.
But did you enjoy that more, the different country of Malaysia?
Malaysia had different cultures, which was good to pick up on, and the habits of the local people were totally different from Europeans. Currency obviously was different, and the climate was very different as well. It's very hot and humid, which we don't get in Europe.
Would you like to go with your family to a country like that?
I don't think it would really be a good place for a family holiday, especially with the young children. It can be quite tiring in the humidity, and I think wandering about, visiting places could be quite tiring. They tell me it's a bit like Florida, where it's very tiring going around Disneyland and that's something I've never done.
And do you prefer the relaxed holidays with your family, or is the sort of sightseeing boys' holiday more your cup of tea?
I prefer both, to be honest. Like I say, I'm quite fortunate that I can do two of them in a year, whereas with the family it's relaxed, it's lying about the pool, going sightseeing for a few days, where the lads' holidays obviously just motor racing and just enjoying ourselves and not too bothered about seeing the culture of the country or the city that we're in.
When you were younger, did you go on many holidays then?
When I was younger, unfortunately, travelling far holidays wasn't on the cards, obviously due to money. That's a big thing about going to foreign countries, it can be quite expensive. When I was younger, the most holidays that we did was sort of caravanning holidays throughout Britain. At that time, when you're young, it was quite an adventure to be away with your parents in a caravan, with your sister, etc.
Is that something you'd like to do in the years to come?
Again, now I think the way the road networks have changed in Britain and the number of traffic and things like that on the road, to me, I wouldn't find that to be a relaxing holiday. Having to drive and tow a caravan throughout Britain, I don't think that would be my cup of tea. Somewhere maybe in America would be more my style, where it's open countryside, open roads, not so much traffic, and I think that would be more enjoyable.
So where would be your ultimate destination to go?
My ultimate destination is going to be Cuba. I've always fancied going to Cuba. I like the idea of the good weather, certainly the culture in Cuba, the cigars, the old cars, the history of Cuba, Hemingway, etc. stayed there for many years, so I'm really looking forward to going to Cuba one day. And
are you going to Cuba soon?
I'm hopefully going to Cuba next year, yes.
And how do you feel with the whole travel experience?
Travelling overall is quite exciting. I look forward to going on holidays. It can be very tiring, obviously, delays with planes and airports and things like that. It can be very tiring, but overall, no, I would say I quite look forward to going on holiday.
Do you think it's necessary to go on a holiday every year?
I think it really depends obviously on your finances. There is a lot of people in Britain that can't afford to go on holidays. But I think if you work hard and you can save a wee bit of money, why not treat yourself to go to different places and seeing different cultures? Because we all learn from that.
So where do you think the need to travel has came from?
Personally, I would say that it was maybe through my father. My father was in the Merchant Navy and had travelled probably 2 or 3 times round the world when he was younger. I don't know if that was part and parcel of why I like travelling, and that I don't know, but certainly that might have had a bearing on it. When I was growing up, my father would always bring my mother home something from a different country, so we had that in the house while we were growing up. That maybe had some reflection on why I enjoy travelling today.
So why do people travel? To witness other cultures, experience new tastes, different lives, something exciting that can be passed on, stories that can be told, experiences that will never be forgotten.
Capture a sunset, essence Capulet.
For the world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page.